presque oublié, du port de Syracuse, les décors libérés, la lumière qui s'infuse, les soirs d'été que l'astre roi diffuse dans les verres de rosée et les lèvres confuses, des sourires et des pleurs. On s'embrasse, on s'excuse, on sait plus comment faire. Compressé sous les tubes, angoissé du silence, retrouver le déluge de l'ivresse et la danse. Parce que l'homme c'est ça, et la seule vérité c'est qu'on vit pas chacun pour soi. Alors traquer de plus belle l'assurance d'être là, et dans chaque étincelle la promesse d'un feu de joie. Donne-moi du corps, donne-moi du vin, donne-moi la mort, donne-moi ton sein, donne-moi la recette, donne-moi l'amour, donne-moi la fête, donne-moi toujours, donne-moi du corps, donne-moi du vin, donne-moi la mort, donne-moi ton sein, donne-moi la recette, donne-moi l'amour, donne-moi la fête, donne-moi toujours. Du vin, donne-moi la mort, donne-moi ton sein, donne-moi la recette, donne-moi l'amour, donne-moi la fête, donne-moi toujours, donne-moi du corps, donne-moi du vin, donne-moi la mort, donne-moi ton sein, donne-moi la recette, donne-moi l'amour, donne-moi la fête, donne-moi toujours. Donne-moi toujours.
Hello and welcome everybody. Please slowly take your seat. We are starting in a few minutes. Please take your seats. Okay, welcome. Welcome to this Jubilee edition of the ESA BIC Switzerland Demo Day. My name is Nanja, and I will guide you through the program this afternoon. We'll probably expect a few more people to come, so please let them go to the vacant seats. So why Jubilee? Now you see a 5 all around. We have two things to celebrate. On the one hand, the program is 5 years old by now, and earlier this year we signed the extension for another 5 years of this program. And that's why it's a Jubilee edition, and we are happy to celebrate a bit with you today. Now I see a couple of new faces in the audience. For the ones who haven't been here, what is this demo day about? It's very simple. It's about connecting our startups with partners from our great partner network and vice versa. And for this, all 20 currently supported startups are here physically with us today. Now, you know, we are still doing this demo day under special circumstances, and you know what I'm talking about. I'll keep it very short. You know that the vaccine doesn't protect you 100% from being infected, so feel free to wear a mask or not wear a mask, and please respect what the other's choice. That's all I want to say about this. Also, we significantly reduced the invitation list again, in line with last year, in order to allow for sufficient space for all of us. And let's get to the agenda. You have it all on your seat as well. It's a mixture of startup pitches, very important, hopefully really interesting keynote speech by Martin, great that you're here with us today, and other points. And last but not least, I should not forget to mention that we have a videographer with us today. And I just want you to be aware of it. because we record today's demo day for the ones who cannot be with us today. And with this, we start. And the first agenda point is on me. So I continue here. A quick review about the 5 years of ESA BIC Switzerland until today, and also a very brief outlook. So as usual, here you see the portfolio of startups in the program right now. What you see in the white circle are the startups currently supported, and in the gray box at the bottom, you see the alumni. And don't worry, they are all on our website with links to their websites, so you don't need to note anything. One thing to mention is when we started off with ESA BIC Switzerland, it was supposed to be a nationwide Swiss program. And I think we achieved this. Yes, we do have a tilt to EPFL and to ETH, but it's in the nature of what we do to support deep tech startups with a relation to space that there's various spin-offs from these schools in the program. But you see other dots on the map, and we already supported startups from all these regions or cities. Now, a few highlights over the 5 years. It's actually 4 alumni that we mention here. The first one, ClearSpace. I guess almost everybody has heard about them. It's a space startup that will collect space debris, which is flying around the Earth, an increasingly important problem. And they got a huge ESA contract to collect space debris, and it's the first time ESA ever gave a mandate or a mission to a startup. So that is really, really unique. They started off, they grew from 7 to 40 people online. It was hell, Luc told me, onboarding everybody online. And what you might not know, they have also raised private money by now. They are at 50 employees, and they have a subsidiary and an office in London or by now. So that's ClearSpace. Let's move to the right. Anybotics, another startup, already an alumni. They do legged robots for inspection, and they have very prestigious customers. I only named 2 here, but if you go to their website, you find very prominent names, also like Petronas, Vale, a big mining company, etc. And they closed a very interesting financing round last year, also doing quite well. On the bottom left, you see a software company, Embotech. They do motion planning software for autonomous cars, but also for rockets to re-land them. And they also have customers around the world, obviously interesting automotive customers in Germany, and that's why they opened an office in Munich. And they will soon announce also a really nice additional financing round in addition to what you see here. And on the bottom right, Insolite, they are in a much more difficult market. If you think solar cells, they come from East, right, from China nowadays. But it's a Lausanne-based company, and they started with space-grade solar cells, hit the world record in terms of efficiency, 30%. And they opened up now a new application in agrivoltaics, really interesting, and secured quite an attractive funding also from the EU. So these are 4 highlights. We had to choose some. Obviously, there's other ones as well. And given we are a space-related startup program, we also wanted to share a few space highlights. And I'm very excited that actually 2 of them are here with us today, with Nematex and Raphael, and also Florian from ESA Nanotech. But we'll start with SciSec on the left. It's a cybersecurity company, and they won a contract with ESA for risk mitigation of on ship tracking with satellite data. One of them, then the material, really interesting material from Nematex, will fly on the ISS soon. Raphael will talk about that later. And the same for ESA Nanotech. Their optics will fly on the Athena mission of ESA as well. So that's really interesting. And on the far right, you find not Florian, but Menhir Photonics with Florian. And here it's a bit different. It's actually commercial space, As part of a consortia, they are doing a second-generation timing system for deep space stations, also great achievement. There's also more space highlights, but we had to choose a few. Now, in terms of the cumulative results of the program, we also always share these numbers with you, and I want to pick a few points here. We have paid out as a program over 7 million to startups, like you see them today. Each of them gets 200,000 euro during the program. But what is interesting is the money they raised from third party beside ESA BIC, which is now over 200 million. Obviously, this includes the contract of ClearSpace, but still it's a big chunk in addition to that was raised by other startups. Obviously, jobs created in Switzerland, but also important, there's really businesses coming out of the program. What you see on the bottom right, that there are startups that have over 1 million or multi-million revenues nowadays already. That's the ultimate mission that we are after, to help them to create businesses. And now we come to you, the partner network. Over and over, we read and hear from the startups that the partner network and the contacts we have beyond that are very much appreciated. And for that, big, big thank you again to the partners today in the audience. Very much appreciated by the startups. And I'm very pleased to say that we have already signed numerous contracts with partners for the 5-year extension and are close to signing contracts with the remaining partners also for the 5-year extension. So great that you stay with us and with the program. So much for looking back. Now we'll briefly look forward. What you see here is a screenshot of the online signing ceremony of the 5-year extension of ESA BIC Switzerland, which happened on March 2nd this year. And we were very honored to have the new ESA Director General, so this is to say the CEO of ESA, with us on his 2nd day in his new function. And you see him between the T and the 5, Mr. Aschbacher. That's the new, so to say, CEO of ESA. And now you might wonder, so what are they going to do in the next 5 years? We will not change the program radically because it's quite successful, but as always, we'll always improve, review, enhance what we are doing. And today we are sharing 2 aspects that are already in the making. One is additional business support. We are running a pilot right now. We realized that the startups in the ESA BIC program in Switzerland, usually they're technically very, very strong and sound, but it's not a balance between technical and business domain. So we are strengthening the business support. And the other is that obviously sustainability and the sustainable development goals of the UN are ever becoming more mainstream. And we are considering how to integrate this in our program, and we'll launch fully these 2 things next year. We have thought about additional improvements and what to do in the next 5 years, but it's not ripe to share them today, but stay tuned, we will communicate them in due time. So that's about it in terms of highlights from the program. I hope I could give you a little update. If you have questions, I'm obviously around. And now we start with the exciting thing, which is the startup pitches. And there's the first one. Lucas, please on stage with Lumiface.
And the slides? Okay. Does it work? Yes. Okay. So, welcome. It's my honor to start the session this evening. We are Lumiface. We build hardware, the next generation of communication chips for internet networks. We help the biggest tech companies in the world deliver to you higher quality services while saving hundreds of millions of dollars every year. How is that possible? You know that we are all connected. We take the internet for granted. I'm Lucas, I'm CEO of Lumiface. And I've been working in this field for 10 years at IBM before founding Lumiphase. Yeah. This slide, maybe you should have seen earlier. The problem is the data traffic is exploding. It's doubling every 2 years. The players in this industry are struggling to keep up with the demand while maintaining cost and power under control. Let me explain. When you take your phone and you make a picture and store it on the cloud, the picture is sent to the nearest antenna, and then there is a module like this one which converts the data into light, and then the data travels hundreds or thousands of kilometers at the speed of light through fibers like this one, optical fibers, until they reach the data center of Google or Microsoft, where another module like this one converts it back to electricity, and then the computer stores the data. The problem is that the current technologies which are used to build these modules are reaching their limits. Everybody is looking for a solution. It's a race to a multi-billion-dollar market. So what do we do at Lumiphase? We build disruptive communication chips that go inside these modules that I just showed you to solve the problem by making them 10 times better. So how do we do that? We use existing manufacturing facilities in the industry to build millions of chips per year, which we distribute to the customers on the right who build these modules. So what's the secret? We introduced a new material inside these chips with unprecedented optical properties, which make the whole difference. So now, think about it. If you are a company active in space communication, if we could help Google or Microsoft make better networks at lower cost, we may as well be able to help you. If you are an investor, we believe that this is big. It's coming out of Switzerland and is going to impact the entire world. We are about to close a Series A in the coming months. There may still be some space for you to help us grow faster. In both cases, please reach out to me. I'll be waiting at this table, happy to chat with you, and so that you recognize me, I'll be having this yellow fiber. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lucas. And as next one, we have Dennis from Condensero. Please, on stage.
Thank you very much. I'm Dennis Sutter, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Condensero. We're a spin-off company of the University of Zurich. And it's very nice and warm here, so I will talk about cooling. And so our company produces scientific instruments that cool down to extremely low temperatures, close to the absolute 0 point. And this temperature range is very important for many different research applications, such as the study of quantum materials, such as superconductivity, the ability to transmit electricity without power loss, or, for example, studying the structures of viruses or molecules or proteins in the context of drug design. A very powerful technique that is used to study these structures is cryotransmission electron microscopy, or short cryothem. And with cryothem, we can look at these materials with atomic accuracy. Now, the users of cryothem that cool down to these temperatures have all the same frustrations in common. They have extremely long cool-down times, leading to high operational costs and blocking the instrument. And the worst thing of all is that once these temperatures are reached, one only has about 15 minutes. And then it warms up again, terminating the experiment prematurely. Now, with Condensero, we have developed a new cooling technology that cools down in only 10 minutes. And we can sustain this temperature for more than 24 hours. So with these extended periods of time, we can give back this time to our customers to produce higher scientific output, and ultimately what we offer our customers is world-class science. Now, what is our space connection? In order to produce our sample holders, we use a lot of 3D metal printing or additive manufacturing. We use materials such as titanium, cobalt, chromium, aluminum, or stainless steel. And about 2 years ago, we faced the problem that these materials, or the small wall thicknesses, were leaking helium gas through the product into the microscope. So effectively, we were contaminating our microscopes of the customers. And so we have found and developed a new treatment for materials to basically erase this leakage. So we are sealing those leakages, and we call this condenseal. And with condenseal, we're able to reduce the helium leakage rate by 3 orders of magnitude. Now, at the moment, we are still investigating the microstructure effects of condenseal together with our colleagues at Inspire and Anaxam, and we're exploring applications for space applications in thermal treatment, thermal applications, propulsions, or additive manufacturing in general. So if you're excited about and want to learn about more what we are doing about CondensZero and how to seal leaks for additive manufacturing, please don't be a stranger. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dennis. And the next one is Diemer with something very different. Please on stage, and you get the clicker also from Dennis.
So I'm going to try this with 2 hands, 1 second. All right. Hi, everybody. So high precision augmented reality for geospatial data. We develop an industrial grade augmented reality solution for surveying, construction, and maintenance work. So my name is Diemer, and I'm the co-founder of VLabs. Right, so before civil works take place, generally a surveyor has to go out to the field and spray with a spray can the location of underground grids on the street. Now, this is a very time-consuming and job and prone to human errors, which can lead to damages to underground grids. So, coming from the utility industry, we thought, can we not develop something for this type of work? So we've developed an augmented reality solution for AR headsets, fully integrated with GNSS RTK. This is basically a very accurate type of GPS that allows us to visualize geospatial data, such as data of underground grids, but also 3D buildings on construction sites, with centimeter accuracy in the field. Now, with our headset, we cannot just visualize information, we can also acquire information. So we can measure geo-coordinates just by simply looking at an object in the field. Finally, recently we developed with the German Railways a step-by-step work instructions to allow operators in the field, or basically to guide operators in the field through a set of complicated tasks. So in all, we offer a tool suite for our contractors and operators in the field to increase their efficiency, to avoid errors during construction and design, digitize their field work, and finally guide operators so you don't have to send experts to the field. So that saves a lot of operational costs. Over the last 3 years, we've developed our minimal viable product through multiple pilots with customers. And we're currently in the go-to-market phase, for which we raised a seed round of about $500,000 Swiss francs. In Q2 2022, we aim to raise a Series A in order to scale up our business. And in order to do so, we're currently focusing on market traction, really to prove our product market fit. We're increasing our product readiness level. Basically, we're sending our product currently to an Australian company. So we need to really be able to supply our product globally. And we're preparing for the funding raise, funding Series A. Now, we're targeting a market of about $10 billion in size. So if you're either interested in our product or potentially in investing in the Series A of our company, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, Diemer Kroon-Stuart. I'll be happy to give you more information about what we do and the potential investment opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Diemer. And as the next one, we have Matthias from Lightly with yet something totally different. Please, Matthias.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. My name is Matt, and I'm the co-founder of Lightly. Lightly is a data curation platform for machine learning. We help engineers build better models by selecting the right data. Why is that important? Quite simply. Because if you look at this slide here, you see on top, 80% of an engineer's time is spent on data preparation. I want to highlight this a bit with you, for you by looking at this illustration. It's a data set from the Sentinel-2 satellite. And if you look at the data set and you think about what you should use to train your machine learning model, what kind of data you should use to do that, do you know what you should use? Probably not, because I don't know either. It's very vast, it's very complex, and maybe you see there's some ocean, there's some earth, but very difficult. And that leads in the end to 3 problems. First, data is a black box. And if you don't know what to use to train your machine learning model with, it's also gonna suffer the AI model accuracy and the performance of your system. And the third one is really, it's super inefficient. If your machine learning engineer, who is expensive, needs to take a lot of time to actually curate the data, it's not time well spent. So with Lightly, we can really solve this problem. Before, you saw a huge scatter plot and you didn't know what to do. Now, thanks to Lightly, you actually know how many ocean images you have, how much lake, how much forest, how much fire. And what you also can do with Lightly is you select the best samples to train your model. And we are able actually to reduce the data set size by up to 90%, saving you up to 50% of the time spent of a machine learning engineer. And what we also see is that our customers are able to improve their machine learning-based systems by up to 20%. That's a lot. And the great thing is, this is not only relevant for Earth observation, but it's also relevant for autonomous driving, robotics, visual inspection, medical imaging, video analytics, and many, many more. And the great thing is, we already have customers in all of those fields today. So, what are we looking for? We are looking for partners who want to build with us the product, early adopters. We always take in just a few, because we just don't have the resources to serve actually all of our potential customers. Second, we always look for technology partners and distribution partners who help us build a better product and scale it in the market. And the third one is we're currently closing our seed round. It's oversubscribed already today, but we always have space for high value-add investors. If you want to reach out to me, my name is Matt. The email is matthias@lightly.ai, so I'm super easy to find, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Matthias. And the next one is actually Mostafa from Minwave with yet something else. Please come on stage and you will get the microphone. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Miniaturization is a very important aspect in any new technology. And it's even more important for space, because each additional kilogram of weight in a satellite might cost hundreds of thousands of dollars in the total mission cost. I'm Mostafa from Minwave, and we want to start a revolution in miniaturization of microwave systems. These are systems which are used in the communication subsystems of satellite, which I'm showing on the right, and they're typically built out of 10 to hundreds of components and filters like this. And what we are doing in Minwave is that we are reducing the length of these components to this one. Let's take a look at one example of what we have done. This is our Min28 filter, which is for 5G and Internet over SAT applications. And if you take the effective length of our filter and compare it with the filters in the market, we are beating the competition in this case by an order of magnitude. And the way that we are doing this is by having a pending patent metamaterial invented at EPFL, and we are building these components using additive manufacturing. Currently, we are building individual filters, and we are testing it with our customers in space industry soon. We have the support of many organizations, among them ESA BIC is the most valuable one for us. The next natural step for us would be to diversify our market by building more and more of these microwave systems which are miniaturized. But the real magic of miniaturization shows itself when we put together all these miniaturized components and build an energy-efficient, integrated microwave subsystem using our technology. We are currently opening up for a few customers to come and play with our technology in different fields, and we're going to have a seed round in less than 18 months. I'm Mostafa Khosrow from Meanwave, and I'm going to be here afterwards. We're really happy to chat with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mustafa. And as the next one, we actually have Pau from Coactum. And we are very delighted to have, as the second time in our program, a pure space startup. You understand they are rare for various reasons, but here comes the second pure space startup in ESA BIC, and we obviously hope that you're going the same direction as ClearSpace. Huh?
Maybe farther away into deep space. Thank you, Nanya. So moving around in space made simple. This is what Coactum does. Coactum will provide services of in-space transportation. That means moving from orbit to orbit with our own orbital transfer vehicle. And you may wonder, how do these services look like? So, oops, and that was the wrong way, but we're going up. Those are services where we gather satellites, small satellites. We go to a rideshare launch and we get inserted to a standard orbit. And from there, we go. We ignite and we allow small satellites to reach destinations that are now not possible or reachable for them independently. So we can expand the capabilities of the industry at a fair price. The first one, and here we see, services in LEO, moving in low Earth orbit from point to point, deploying small satellites at every stop, just as any bus or train line on Earth. The orbital transfer vehicle can also act as a deorbiting kit, which means cleaning the old satellites once their missions are done and desaturating the orbits. But the services go beyond. They go beyond, they aim to go to the moon or beyond in deep space even. And why not dreaming on exceptional missions that are now only accessible for large consortiums and space agencies, but rather making available for the whole industry and expanding the capabilities we have. The good thing at Coactum is that we are going. We are going, our team is developing the key technology that we have been working on for 7 years, the propulsion system, which is a safe system, non-explosive, non-toxic, that allows to move fast. How fast? Well, can you imagine reaching the moon in just 4 days, starting from GTO, independently with a small satellite? Just swallow that. 4 days, small satellite, GTO to the moon, when now they cannot reach there by themselves. That is a groundbreaking opportunity. But we start on Earth. We start in LEO, we integrate the propulsion system in our orbital transfer vehicle. In the meantime, we're also expanding and checking the US market, a great market in deep space. But we sit in Europe. We sit in Switzerland, and it's here where we want to promote, where now we're already planning the growth. We're looking for partners that share our vision, that want to reach and expand the capabilities of small satellites. My name is Pau. I'm the founder of Coactum. I will be by the rocket, ready to launch and share a ride with you to deep space. Thank you.
Thank you, Pau. And spontaneously, something to mention. Pau is actually from Catalonia in Spain, and they moved specifically to Switzerland with their startup because he thought it was the most fostering ecosystem regarding space and startups. Just as a side information, we are very honored that you did this. And now, given it's the Jubilee edition of the ESA BIC Switzerland Demo Day, we also thought we need to have a bit of a different keynote speaker. And here we are with Martin Moslechner from the world-renowned Terra Mater Studios in Vienna, Oscar-nominated, and focusing on scientific documentaries. And we are very much looking forward to a somewhat different keynote speech. Markus.
Thank you very much for that warm introduction. By the way, thank you so much for having me today. Again, Markus Moslechner came all the way from Vienna. By the way, this was a pretty transformative experience to get here, because of course we wanted to do it super green, as everyone does it these days, and doing it super green is by going via train. So I got here by train. And that was an interesting experience. I boarded the train at 1:45 midnight, okay? Everything is pitch dark. You open a door, 2 people in the compartment, don't know who they are. You don't know what the train actually looks like. So you get to sleep, and you arrive sometime in Zurich. Everything is still pitch dark. The lid is closed. You have absolutely no idea. I checked my Google Maps where I was, and it told me, okay, get off the train, it's Zurich. Good. Then I opened the lid and I saw a completely different world. And that different world was a modern world. Because then I, for the first time, saw what train I was riding on. It was a train directly out of a museum. I saw, seriously, the train came all the way from Budapest. And so I saw the locomotive next to a Swiss train, like the streamlined white Swiss train, and the locomotive. I think it was the first locomotive after they stopped the steam engines. So it was a transformative experience, and now here I'm at the high-tech startup of the world, I guess. Country, of course. So, Terra Mater Factual Studios is my employer. We're based out of Vienna, Austria. We do films, especially when it comes to science, especially when it comes to wildlife, impact, sustainability, and whatnot. We did get quite a bit of an honor for being shortlisted for an Oscar. We got awarded with the Sundance Film Festival, so that's quite a thing. And here we are today. That's my name again, and that's today. And that's our topic today, storytelling and innovation. Are you ready to answer an essential question? Good question, that is. So what question are we talking about? And what does storytelling have to do with innovation? So, but wait, hold on a second before I ask the question, tell you what the question will be. So I guess you're all brilliant, and so is your product. So I guess you're all ready for fame and fortune. But chances are that we are sort of being confronted with others who are feeling the same. And so let's talk about the others, and let's talk about the situation we're all in, either myself in the media industry or you in the space industry. And so I dug a little around for data and to tell that story of data in terms of what we like at Terra Mater, that's animals. So if you consider a tiny ant, the size of a tiny ant is a megabyte, okay? So let's just imagine this. Then a gigabyte is 1,000 ants. That would be the height of a person, okay? Just for comparison. Then, again in ant size, 1,000 megabytes, a terabyte, the length of a decent bridge. Now, a petabyte, The length of New Zealand, still, it's like all size in ants. If you put one ant to the other, you get the length of New Zealand. Then an exabyte. That's the diameter of the sun. So now, how much data? I think we already heard it today that we're in a data deluge and that data is exploding these days. So do we have any guesses how much data we're producing these days? So 2025, there's estimates, and we're producing 463 exabytes of data worldwide. That would be 463 diameters of the sun in ants per year. So that's quite a bit. I mean, like, completely insane. And of course, we're all drowning in a flood of data. And there's a beautiful poem I came across at some point by Samuel Taylor Coleridge, The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, a ship amidst the ocean, water, water everywhere, and all the boards did shrink, water, water everywhere, nor any drop to drink. I think this pretty much speaks also for the data situation we're in. So how can we stay afloat, each and every one of us? By the way, this is not about marketing. I'm not doing any marketing here today. We can stay afloat by reminding ourselves to a long gone past of human beings, as Homo sapiens. As you will know, Homo sapiens, most of us are part of that species. So we've been sitting around campfires for 200,000 years. There was no smartphone, there was no computer, there was no written records. So how did we transfer information from one year to the next, or from one generation to the next? We told it in the form of stories around campfires. And that took quite a while, because written records started like, say, 10,000 years ago. So we had 190,000 years of just oral speech storytelling, and that did something to us. And what is this storytelling all about? It's about bridge building between you and myself, between people. We want to communicate. We want to transform something. Ideally, a good story transforms myself. If I'm not transformed by a story, I'm bored. So a transformation takes me from A to B. And in the meantime, something happens, okay? It's engaging, and usually it's a call to action. Usually the call to action we're expecting is, please give me your money, okay? So that would be a call to action. But there's a bunch of different calls also. So those 190,000 years around the campfire did something to us, because it hardwired our brains to stories. So we are hardwired to some triggers in our minds that speak in stories. This is why we all love stories. And we cannot help but listen to some of those story triggers. And if we do it right, we will get people's attention. So for example, a typical story trigger could be, you cannot imagine what happened at 7:05 this morning to me. Of course you would want to know what happened at 7:05 this morning, because we're all wired to listen, to be attentive to that kind of information. So we want to establish dialogue between people, and we want to engage. And the pro tip, by the way, this is not the topic of today, but the pro tip is to establish a dialogue in this way. Don't write things, if you want to establish a dialogue, only on your keyboard. Establish a dialogue by writing things by hand, because this tells me a story. What we're seeing here, just take a look at that. That's a completely dead image, what we're seeing here. It tells me nothing. Just establish dialogue. But this here, that tells me something. Is this guy, by the way, this is my beautiful handwriting. Is this guy writing with a fountain pen? What's in the back of that paper? Where was that written? By the way, and what's up there? There was a different word. What could that word have been and whatnot? So it tells me a story already. And by the way, from our cognitive side of things, writing on a keyboard is very inferior than writing by hand. But anyway, you guys will know that anyways. So if you want to come up with a brilliant idea, don't do it on a computer. So the power of stories, significant objects, what a beautiful experiment. Significant objects was a beautiful experiment done by artists a couple of years ago. They bought completely useless things in a thrift store. Completely useless, like, I don't know, the cap of a pencil or whatnot, or such an animal, whatever that animal is. And they wanted to sell that on eBay and find out how much money they would get for it. Of course, no one would pay for something like this. Then, in turn, so by the way, we're talking about such beautiful things, completely useless. Then they hired a bunch of storytellers and writers, and they had the task to write stories for each of those objects and come up with a random story. You wouldn't believe what happened, because then they put it up on eBay again. And then, like magic, they sold 128.74 US dollars of junk for $3,621. You can look that up. It's called significant objects. It's also documentation, scientific documentation behind it. It's a really beautiful example. Of course, we're not here to sell junk, because we're not in the junk business. So what if we trade thrift store junk for high-tech products? Will that work also? I guess so. Those guys are masters. We're masters, and he's still a master in telling stories, wrapping high-tech in the form of stories. Of course, we all remember what happened yesterday. 4 civilians were asked to go into space, and they flew successfully into space. So why 4 civilians? That's, of course, a necessary story to tell, because it produces a narrative, and everyone would talk about that. It's not necessary from an engineering or whatever point of view, but it's an important story. It's an important vehicle. So it's important to understand, before we go to the next step, it's important to understand how our brains work. We like stories. We already heard that. We like images. And we like change. Nothing is more boring than stability and stagnation. This is why, at least myself, I don't even hate them. I just ignore corporate videos. Because usually corporate videos, that's all about telling whoever the audience is, other than the CEO himself, that the company is great. Why would I want to know this? Completely useless. And I'm glad that it's not being done anymore as it used to be, like decades ago when we did. I also did industry videos, they were called, corporate videos, completely useless. Why is it useless? Because it's someone telling you how great they are without ever telling you when they failed and why they failed and how they crawled out of the pit and then came out transformed again. This is what we want to hear. This is what we like to hear. And this is why we can engage with the other, because we're all human beings and human beings fail. This is why we should be ready to tell the world, yes, we fail because we are human beings, but we found a way out of it. And then I would be hooked immediately because, wow, tell me how you did that, because I know that I'm a human being. I will fail every day, and I want to learn how you did it. I want to learn from you. So, find yourself the greatest and toughest story. toughest story that is a story where you're ready to also talk about the difficult moments. And people will listen. So, ready for the question of questions? Why? Why do you do what you do? Usually, when we're on stage, when we're presenting to someone, it is what we do. That's the first thing when we present. I'm in the tool-making business, or I build cars, or I am a fast runner, or I'm, I don't know, a carpenter. But that's not the story. The story is the why behind all this. That's the big question. And that's a question that we should be ready to answer, because it's not only a question that helps us communicate what we do, it also helps us to get clear in our minds about what we do, because it's not only what we do, it's why we do something. I'm sure that most of you know that beautiful Apollo story with the janitor and President Kennedy. So the story goes like this. You have the Apollo headquarters back in the day. President Kennedy walks into the headquarters, comes across a janitor with a broom in his hand. And Kennedy walks up to him and asks him, hey, what's going on? And what do you do? Whenever he asked it. And he says, well, I'm here to help bring people to the moon, bring humans to the moon. So, this guy is not here to clean the floor in his self-understanding. He is here to help bring humans to the moon. And this is his why. And that's such a beautiful story, such a beautiful analogy as to why the why is so important. So, why do you do what you do? Is it to become rich? Provide for your family? Because I have nothing better to do? I do not like what I do. I don't know why I put in the fourth one, but anyways, let's focus on the first three. And then I'd like to help you a little here, because we're not going to come out with a solution today. Why do I do what I do? Why does it matter? That's the second important question. And why should anyone care? Why should anyone care about what I do? So, in your own words, a tech sheet. I know you guys understand tech sheets best. And I think this is the way you think, right? And I heard that someone is building something like this. By the way, you guys know that crazy Chinese story where they announced to build a kilometer-sized spacecraft? Yeah, maybe not this one. So, but your tech sheets. So I just would highly recommend to add this why, maybe in that form, maybe in handwriting, to your tech sheets as a necessary requirement. That's not only fun and nice to have, this is a prerequisite. Maybe you don't want to communicate, maybe you don't want to talk about it, but for your own self-understanding, for your own product, this is vital. So I came up with a random tech sheet, maybe for a dress. Couldn't find one from your world. So, and maybe we should put something like this here. That should be a prerequisite. So let's try something. Can you all scan that QR code, please? Because I would like to make a little bit of an experiment right now. And that experiment is, I have 3 questions for you now. 3 questions. And give me your one-word association with that question, okay? Just one word. I'll have to unlock it. So please do tell me if it works for everyone. So, it should be unlocked right now. So please do tell me your one word. Okay. Okay. So, hold on. Can you see something now? Okay. And I'm super happy to share your answers with everyone once we're done. So, lots of answers are coming in, lots of votes. We already have 35. So here is the first one. You can still keep voting. Why do I do what I do? Then the second one. Why does it matter what I do? Fun and happiness, we already had that. That's interesting. Fun and happiness. And then the third one. Why should a passenger on a public train care for what I do? Because it brings impact. By the way, I'll share that with you, and you can then distribute it. So please do keep on voting if you want. Can we jump back to the presentation, please? So we're to wrap this up, or let me just bring in a story, a very brief one, a very nice observation from the company I'm with, Terra Mater Factual Studios. So what we do is, what we've been doing for many years is wildlife filmmaking, science filmmaking, but mostly wildlife and documentaries. So we've been all over the place, bringing the beauty of the world into the households and showing the world what the world looks like. And so the employees of our company, they knew we were doing films, but there was no, like, amongst all of them, no real attachment. Like, you had, like, department that attached a little more and whatnot. Then at some point, we started making films with an impact, where we focused on wildlife crime and the atrocities that are going on in the world. And all of a sudden, the company developed an internal story. And that internal story was, now we really know what we're working for. No matter who you are in that company, and we're 50 people, we really knew what we were working for. And that's a beautiful example how a narrative, a strong narrative, can pull people together. No matter what your role is and what your position is in a company. So I would invite you to add this to your tech sheets. And if you want, you can scan that, and it's just a document, and you can download it. But of course, it's just 3 sentences. Maybe it's... I think, well, I do have another option, okay? So I could offer you that also. Like, there is a QR code for that also. So if you like my handwriting, but again, please do just take notes and write it down for yourself and add it to your tech sheets. That's the QR code. And by the way, I do a little bit of space podcasting also. I'm also with Spacewatch Global, an international, by the way, based out of Geneva. Important. Space News Network, and I do the Space Cafe podcast. Maybe it doesn't work because we have a balloon like blocking the view. Anyways, it's called Space Cafe Podcast. And we do have beautiful people. And also Josef Aschbacher in our next coming, or not the next one, but then we'll have him on the show. Yeah, thank you so much for your time and attention.
Thank you very much, Markus, for this inspiring keynote speech. And we will continue with inspiring startup pitches, the next 5. And the next one is actually Adam from Rigitech. Please, on stage.
Yes, thank you very much. And that was also a very inspiring presentation before. So my name is Adam Klaptach. I'll try to come up with a story as well. So we all take access to goods for granted. Here in Zurich, you can get basically anything you want within a few minutes, either at the store or delivered to your house by a bike or by a car or basically anything. But if you're in the middle of a village somewhere in the rural area and you need medicine to feel better, it's not always that easy. If you're stuck on a mountain, like I sometimes get, and you need something to fix your blister on your foot, it's also not easy. If you need to get vaccines into the middle of nowhere right now, super important, also not always easy. So what we're doing at Rigitech is actually trying to create universal access to goods by taking logistics up in the air. And that we do that by creating drone delivery systems. I should probably press this button at some point. There we go. So we actually build drone delivery technology that allows anyone, any service provider to be able to deliver packages with the touch of a button through the air, no road required. It's not just drones we build, we really build the infrastructure, the software and the technology that makes drone delivery not just possible if you're a tech billionaire like Jeff Bezos and wants to do it with Amazon, but anyone who owns a pharmacy, anyone who has laboratories or hospitals to link, or even a pizza delivery place that wants to reach more customers farther from their location. So our systems are built not just to be simple, but to be aviation certified, to scale beyond just one drone, so you can operate fleets using our communication technology. And they're remotely operated by our air traffic controllers, so at the touch of a button, you have your whole system up and running. We've been working on this for a couple years. Over the last few years, we've had a few achievements. We've flown in 6 different countries here in Europe, but also in 2 places in Africa. We've been scaling up the number of flights, not just in R&D that you see here in red, but we're starting to have quite a few flights from customers and from our pilot operations. And we've achieved the kind of golden ticket of drone delivery, which is BVLOS waivers, so beyond visual line of sight, waivers that allow you to actually deliver and not just fly your drone just outside in your backyard. We've got this in 3 different countries using 2 of our different platforms. So we've proven the technology works. Now we're taking it to market, and that's where we need your help. So Going from just a few prototypes, we're now building our next series of 25 drones. We need to get them certified, we need to get them industrialized, and we need to start becoming a real aerospace-grade technology company so that we can provide aerospace-grade systems to every pharmacy that's out there. Thank you very much. My name is Adam Klaptach. You got my email down there if you want to talk to me or just come by after. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adam. And the next one is Raphael from Nematex. You already heard them before about the material going to the ISS. Please, Raphael.
Thank you, Nanya, and good afternoon, everybody. My name is Raphael Heb. I'm CEO and co-founder of Nematex, and we boost industrial 3D printing with new materials. Today, an increasing number of companies in specialized markets have the problem that traditional manufacturing gives them high costs, long lead times, and also design restrictions. And this is one of the reasons why 3D printing has become increasingly popular over the past few years. As of today, however, the quality of 3D printed products is still inferior compared to traditional manufacturing. And this especially limits polymers from being used in critical applications, despite their huge lightweight potential. In order to overcome the current limitations in polymer additive manufacturing, we have developed a technology we call nematic 3D printing. We are the first company in our industry to offer so-called liquid crystal polymers, or LCP, for 3D printing. And in combination with proprietary part design algorithms and high-precision 3D printers, we can offer both the part performance and manufacturing precision that is required for industrial production. Our parts are 10 times stronger than PEEK, which is the current reference material in polymer 3D printing. We have a heat resistance beyond 250 degrees C, and our LCP materials allow us to create parts with very high precisions. Our products can survive in the harshest applications environment, such as the ones found in space. And here we have recently took the first hurdles in space compliance testing, after which ESA has granted us access for a space flight mission on the ISS next year. Besides that, we offer 3D printing services at the moment. Our entry market is electronics, where we produce electronic connector housings with a high precision, and we have different applications in the precision mechanics, vacuum, and chemical industries. In terms of our support need, this can be categorized in roughly 3 different categories. We receive already great support from the ESA BIC partner network in product development in areas which go beyond our core expertise, which is material science. Then we also have the chance to get our hands on space demonstrator parts at a very early phase and familiarize ourselves with the requirements. And we have recently started to reach out to investors from the partner network for our planned seed funding round in the first quarter of next year. So if you're curious how we combine material performance and manufacturing precision for polymer 3D printing, please come and talk to me afterwards. I have a few use cases and samples I can show you, and I would like to thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Raphael. And for the next two startups, we actually go to the domain of energy. And the first one is Mahmoud from Energio, please.
Okay, I have the slide, right? Good afternoon. We take power for granted. No matter where we are, whether we are in a train station or in an airport, we have an easy access to electrical grid. However, in our today electrified world, many applications across diversified markets, including communication devices, monitoring equipments, all the way to autonomous robotic systems, are still in urge to find a reliable power supply that can meet their required autonomy. Most of these devices are relying on batteries. Sometimes they combine it with solar panels, and in several cases, they even use diesel generators. These devices are extremely heavy, not reliable, and very expensive to maintain. Therefore, at Energio, we have developed a compact and a lightweight power source based on a fuel cell technology to deliver a reliable electricity wherever and whenever it's needed. Our fuel cell technology, unlike the ones that we are hearing mostly in the news about them, is not only relying on hydrogen, but can operate based on any chemical fuel that you can imagine, from natural gas to butane and propane, LPG. The same bottle that we have for the barbecue in our balconies. And why is that important? Of course, we cannot do things in one day. We need a systematic change towards green energy. And this is what we are bringing with our technology to the market. We are bringing a clean energy source that can now benefit from commercial fuel, waiting for hydrogen to come to the market, and at the point we can deliver completely green energy. Our system can come in a modular and scalable size, so we are not only limited to a kilowatt range, we can deliver as low as 50 watt of power. Since the conception of the project, we came a long way. So we have now a working prototype. So you have it here in the box, not this one, that I will be happy to show it to you. We have also received a very good traction from the customer and market. We have received more than 20 LOIs, representing a need for more than 700 units, a potential revenue of plus 5 million. We have already signed our first contract for the product development. We have signed our first pilot test, and we have a pipeline of 10 to run the pilot projects. In terms of grants and awards, we have also raised more than 1.5 million, mostly through non-dilutive funding, that help us to reach this stage. And now we are working to further optimize our devices, run our pilot test to validate it, and at the same time, we are very close to close our seed round of fundraising. We have it almost covered, but we are looking to invite newcomers to join us, especially if you can add some value to our technology. Moreover, if you like to have your unit power in the middle of nowhere, or you want to test our units, I will be happy to share more information. My name is Mahmoud Haddad, the founder and CEO of Energio. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mahmoud. And we continue in the domain of energy with Sorab from So High Tech. Please.
Thanks, Tanya. Hello, everyone. My name is Saurabh, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of So High Tech. So before telling you about So High Tech, let me ask you a very simple but quite important question. Wouldn't it be great if we could reduce our current dependency on conventional fossil fuels, which are anyway exhausting and are the major cause of damages to our environment? And wouldn't it be equally amazing if we could produce a fuel I am talking about, just by using sunlight and water? The simple answer is yes. This would be absolutely great, and this is exactly what we do at So High Tech. So at So High Tech, we provide renewable system for cost-effective and on-site production of fuel and power. And the fuel which I am talking about here is hydrogen. So basically, hydrogen is widely recognized as the fuel for the future, though the main problem is that most of this hydrogen itself is produced from conventional fossil fuels and is produced in centralized facilities. So it kills the purpose. So what's our solution? Our solution is our product called ARB. ARB is an artificial tree which uses only sunlight and water as the only input resources to give you highly pure hydrogen, but also co-generating oxygen and heat. So in true essence, it's a cogeneration system for fuel and power. You can install ARB right in your backyard, in your garden, or even on your roof. And you can use ARB to power your industries, such as steel making, chemical industries, fertilizer industries, also to power your homes, and also to power your cars, if you want to do that. So we recently completed a full-fledged demonstration of our ARB pilot, which is up and running in Lausanne. In terms of space connection, in fact, we have a two-way space connection. We use highly specialized space solar cells as the light-absorbing component in our system. And on the other hand, ARB itself can act as a versatile system. And when I say versatile, we can produce hydrogen, oxygen, water, electricity, and heat. Yes, it's that versatile. To basically meet the needs of manned missions either to Moon or Mars or anywhere in space. Though our primary target market is in fact industrial terrestrial applications. In the next phase, we are launching a limited industrial piloting opportunity phase, where one of the first industrial pilots is going to be in Swiss Romandie with a steel manufacturer, and we are looking for more partners in other parts of Switzerland and around. Also, we are looking for other technology providers, such as particularly related to space solar cells, in order to help us in continuing our journey for making the solar fuels a reality of today. Thank you. My name is Saurabh, and I will be happy to connect with you.
Thank you, Saurabh. And as the last one, we have Florian from XR Nanotech. And we are very pleased to support, for the first time, a PSI spin-off as well. We are not only about EPFL and ETH spin-offs, but we are very happy to support other ones. And here's one from PSI. Please, Florian.
Thank you very much for having me here. Hi, I'm Florian Döring, founder and CEO of XR Nanotech. And we develop the next generation of nanostructured high-tech optics. So optics are in use basically everywhere where there is light. But typically, standard optics are made of glass. Glass is heavy, it's bulky, and it has a lot of limitations. So we wanted to do something about that. And after years of research and development at Paul Scherrer Institute, we came to a new solution of using nanostructured optics. These nanostructured optics, they are small, they are lightweight, and they outclass the performance of glass lenses. So, how can we do that? We apply groundbreaking innovations in the field of nanolithography to nanostructure finest structures for optical properties. And then we sell these devices to high-tech customers currently in 11 countries in that world. Maybe inspired by our keynote speaker today, you ask why? So, we want to advance the technology and we want to make the invisible visible, to peek deeper into matter and material and into space than ever before. So here you see our team at work in a cleanroom facility. We are working on that vision to make the invisible visible. And our optics can be used in a wide range of applications, from X-ray applications up to the infrared. Because we are not using glass optics. We make optics out of diamond, out of gold, or out of silicon. So now we want to offer these new devices, these nanostructured optics, to you. If you want to integrate them into your systems, if you work with any kind of optics, maybe made from glass, in the field of Earth observation, with satellites, in the field of telecommunications, we can offer you new optical devices in the field for imaging, for spectroscopy, or for telecommunications. Just reach out to us. I will be here presenting you with our optical elements from small chips to large wafers. We have a lot of fabrication capabilities in that field, and we are always happy to connect with future integrators, partners, and customers. Thank you very much. We are XR Nanotech.
Thank you very much, Florian. This brings us to the end of the startup pitches, but they will all be around afterwards. Both the startups that pitched right now, as well as the startups which pitched last year. You see, we have booths all around the room. So please stay here afterwards, connect with them, talk to them, explore collaboration opportunities. They would be very happy. And now we come to the next program point, and we are very delighted to have the new Vice President of Knowledge Transfer and Corporate Relations, Professor Vanessa Wood, with us today. Welcome, Vanessa. You'll get a microphone. Just a second for the microphone, Vanessa.
Great.
Please.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here. So I've had this new position as Vice President of Knowledge Transfer and Corporate Relations at ETH, and I'm really pleased to have the ESA BIC as part of the portfolio of things I'm responsible for. So actually, this has nothing to do with me, though. The first thing I got to do, actually, in my new job was sign the contract for the renewal and attend the signing ceremony. So this is all thanks to Nanya and her terrific team who led the ESA BIC in its first 5 years, and now will carry it further into the next 5 with all of your great ideas and startups that make it what it is. So maybe just a few words on why I think ESA BIC is so exciting. I think it's about bringing Switzerland together. So as you heard today, it's about ETH spinoffs, it's about APFL spinoff, it's about PSI spinoffs from the ETH domain, and also universities, University of Zurich, and many of our other partners who are all contributors and make this program what it is. So it's, I think, a fantastic opportunity to demonstrate Swiss innovation for global enterprise, the global space industry, the European space industry, and also, of course, beyond Earth. So the other thing I want to say, which I think is very exciting at ETH, we're further supporting activities at space, and we're excited, for instance, with the arrival of a new professor, Didier Queloz, the Nobel Prize winner from 2019 on exoplanets. Together with the support of Nanya's team, we'll be starting a space center at ETH, which will work with our programs like ESA BIC and the other great programs we have together with ESA partners in Switzerland to push space forward at ETH. So with that, it was really exciting to hear some of the contributions. It's a real pleasure for me through this program to see all the great ideas that come through it, the great spin-offs that emerge from it. And without further ado, I invite you to join the apéro and connect with the great people here. And I'd like to thank, please join me in thanking Nanya and her whole team for a terrific event and a terrific program.
Thank you very much, Vanessa. And we actually have one last speaker to go, the one who is responsible for all that we are doing here. Without Johann Richard from the Swiss Space Office, the ESA BIC Switzerland would not exist. And he initialized the whole story in Switzerland. So please on stage, Johann Richard, for some Jubilee word remarks for everybody.
Nanya, you're too kind. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. So actually, there is a story why I'm here today, and you wouldn't believe it. It was because of a sleepless night. I couldn't sleep at 4 o'clock in the morning, and when I browsed job offers, I found the one I have now. So if there is a reason for the BIC being here, then it's this sleepless night. And of course, there is another story. I think the reason I'm here as well is because of a scribble I did almost 10 years ago. So I was very inspired by your talk, Marcus. Thank you very much. And I think it resonates well. You see, I brought my fountain pen today. But I would like to address a few words. So, dear Vanessa, also dear Luca, we have representatives from ESA here today. Of course, dear Nanya, Cyril, Ina, and also Philip and Jose, who I think cannot be here today, and dear partners, dear startups, and dear guests. Nanya asked me to address a few words. I'm very humbled. Actually, I would have preferred not to be on stage, but you know how insisting Nanya can be. So here I am. And of course, there would be a lot of stories to tell about the BIC and how it came to be, stories about negotiating with ESA, a model they had not seen before, and where we had to do some persuasion to get what we wanted. But it turned out to be very flexible and be very welcoming of these ideas. There would be a story about a beast we had at some point, but that's for another day. So if I talk to you here a few minutes, there I think are 3 things I would like to talk about. First of all, ESA. As I said before, I think we really depend on ESA being at our side at the Swiss Space Office from the beginning when we had the first ideas for a business incubator in Switzerland. As you know, there are many of these ESA BICs around Europe. Switzerland was by far not the first. So we had already some inspiration, and ESA proved to be a very reliable partner and, as I said, also flexible in accommodating the wishes for some differences we wanted to implement. As you can imagine, this goes to contracts, this goes to many boring things, but eventually we did it. So I think there is a very important part, and the second thing, and I think we've heard it today, is also the technological support we get. I think if we ask the startups, one of the things they repeatedly tell us is the tech support from ESA is very important, and I'm pretty sure this will remain so in the coming years, and I'm very glad that we also have ESA on board for the 5 years extension of the ESA BIC. The second point, sorry, that's the disadvantage of too many papers. The second are, of course, the partners. I think one of the things I always hear when I talk to people who do not know the ESA BIC very well is when they hear about the partner network, the size and also the way it works. I think it is really unique. So far I haven't seen another BIC implementing the partner network as Nanya did it with her team. And I think having you here today, and as I heard having renewed or being interested to renew your partnership with the BIC is also proof of the two-way street this whole thing is for you. And I would really like to thank all the partners who have been here from the beginning, from the first ideas to those who joined recently. Without you, I think the BIC wouldn't be as attractive as it is for the startups and vice versa. So thank you very much for that as well. But that's only the second point, and I'll get to my end soon. I think this brings me to the last point. I said it, Nanya and her team, they really did a tremendous job. Vanessa, you mentioned it. And I think all the respect, all the applause should go to them, because I just had a scribble. They made it work, they made it fly, and I'm really, really grateful they're on board for the next 5 years, and I'm very, very sure we'll see more exciting successes from the BIC, you as the partners, you as the startups. So please help me in applauding Nanya and her team for what they did in the past few years, and to encourage them for the next 5 ones.
So thank you, Johan. I feel you're somehow coming to the end of your speech. Is that right?
Yes, I am. Sorry.
And now we have a couple of surprises for tonight. Yes, right. It's the Jubilee edition of the ESA BIC Demo Day. And the first one can arrive, no?
Yes, I can, but actually there's a last story.
Ah, you have a fourth point, okay.
Of course,
fine.
I have a last story. You probably know the 9 most terrific words the English language knows. I'm sure you know them. I'm from the government and I'm here not for help, for the cake today. So please.
So please go. Sven? And I kindly ask all of my team, please, on stage. Ina, please, she's organizing these events. Michael, for the space and tech support. Cyril, helping on many things, including fundraising and financing. Philip on the pipeline and many other things. And Vanessa, please. The only one who cannot be here today is Jose, our other expert. Many startups know him, but he accused himself. Thanks for the past 5 years and looking forward to another 5 years. Yeah, we were told it's a big portion of rain. You see why. And with this, the official part, the program of the ESA Big Demo Day is finished, but now comes the very important second part, which is the networking and the apéro. As I mentioned, the old startups that are already in the second year of the program, and I need to take care that I'm not falling over the rain. I see we had the 5-year, also the cake from the beginnings. We forgot that. Exactly. So the startups that are in the second year of the program, they have booths all around the room. Please join them. And the new ones that were on stage pitching, they are either on the left or on the right-hand side in front of stage. And please come and talk to them. And again, thank you very much for being partners. Thank you for coming today, and still enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.
Sorry for being so short.
No, it's okay. Alles okay. So Ina, drinks are served, right? Yeah, find the drinks in the bag, and also flying dinner will be around. And the chairs will actually be taken away, so we have enough space for everybody. Enjoy.